This video is for Chapter 10 about 3D printing. Before we move this model to 3D printing process, we want to change the unit to millimeter because most of the 3D printer are taking millimeter as input. So to avoid confusion, let's convert it first. And the first thing we need to do is to export this model as a STL file. STL file is accepted by most 3D printers. And we'll go with, there are many options under the make. For the other options, these are the vendors or services that can be used. You can send a quote. You can send a model to these companies to get a quote, and then if you are happy with their price, then you can place an order, and then they will print it and then ship it to you. That's the business. We'll just go with the first one, assuming that you have a 3D printer yourself. So for this dialog box, what we're going to do is to change this to STL file. So we can go with different precision levels. Right now it's medium level, and you can save this model as triangulated model with many triangles, as you can see from this graphical display. For this model, it is using about 1500 triangles at the median level. If we go with higher level, then you will see that we'll use more triangles, a lot more. Okay, and then if you are not happy with just a high median, you can always fine tune those numbers in order to get higher precision of these models in the triangulated mesh surface format. However, remember, if you want to have a higher precision, then the model file in STL format will be bigger. Okay, so if you don't want to save it to a 3D printer utility, then you just uncheck it and then you click OK. It will allow you to save this as an STL file. On the other hand, if you do want to show this in a 3D print utility, you check it, and you have several options. Let's try the Print Studio is from Autodesk. You can download Autodesk Print Studio. It's also free for students and faculty, and then you can try to adjust this model in the Print Studio before you actually send it to a 3D printer to print. Mesh Mixer is a software from Autodesk also. It allows you to modify the mesh in STL format, and it's a very powerful software. Again, it's free for everyone. In fact, for this particular case, it's free for everyone. Preform is a third-party product from Form Labs. That's a company that makes 3D printer. The last one, Repetier Host, is a free software that you can use. Okay, so let's try Repetier Host. I have already installed Repetier Host software in my computer, so for this option it is enabled, and let's try it. Alright, so this is the interface of Repetier Host. If you are interested in getting it, you can go to Repetier Host homepage, and you can download this for free. For today, we are just going to play with this model inside the Parametric host software. The model by default is not placed in the good orientation, so we want to make sure that it's standing up. Right now it's laying flat, so we can modify it. We can center object, we can scale it, and we can rotate it. So let's rotate it, and then we rotate it by, if you look at the coordinate system here is X direction, so it's around X direction rotated by 90 degrees. Okay, and we'll center it. It's already centered, so it's not changing. You can also scale it, make it bigger or smaller, and you can also view cross sections at different levels. So as we know that 3D printer is printing objects layer by layer, this allows you to see what it looks like if it is printed layer by layer. Alright, and the second step for the object printing is to do the slicing. Slicing means we want to slice it into layer by layer, and you can slice it with many options. One of them is called a Cura engine. For this one, you can actually go over each level. So for example, let's try this. You can see for each level what it would look like if you print it. Okay, first layer. Let's start from the first layer, and then you will see how this model is going to be constructed during the printing process if we print it layer by layer. And if you click Edit G code, it will show you these are actually the G code, very similar to CNC machine G code. CNC means computer numerical controlled machine. Okay, so if you save this for SD printing, it means that you can save this to a SD card, and then this SD card can be taken to a 3D printer, which typically accepts a SD card as the memory type. And you can also save it as a file, and then that can be taken to a SD printer. And also you can print directly to our 3D printer if you have one connected to your computer. Right now it's not enabled because I don't have a 3D printer connected right now, but if you do have a 3D printer, you can always set up. And once you set up these 3D printers, then you can connect to 3D printers, and then you can print it. Okay, and if you do have a 3D printer, you can manually control the 3D printer from here, but right now it's disconnected because I don't have one. Okay, so that's about the user interface for Parametric host. If you're interested, you should go ahead to download it somewhere from their website, and then try it out, different options. There are 2 slicers available, but if you want to have your own slicer, you can always add it. These are typically available as open source software. For Parametric host itself, it's our open source software.